Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on Disney Plus. It's time for our weekly live Q&A. We're here live on YouTube. If you're in the live chat, let me know you can hear me. I always like to know that before we carry on too much further. So this is our weekly live Q&A. So questions have been submitted in advance by our Patreon and our YouTube channel members, which you can become a member from as little as $2. You can also join in the live chat right now if you are also here on the YouTube member system. You can jump in and you can send in questions. You can send in super chat functions as well, all of which help support the channel. You can use the gift membership system as well. Something I need to look into a little bit more about being able to hand out our memberships to additional people. So something we're going to need to look into at the point. See a few people have joined in live. So Tim, we've got Lester, we've got Sosuna, Knox Wave, Tim, Matt, Muppet Don, Bubba Trolling. So big hello to all of you. Thank you very much for joining. So lots of questions today. So let's jump into it. If you've got any live questions, feel free to put them in. If you got if we got a question, let's see if we got one that we can put in a poll as well. Feel free to throw them in. But I suppose we better just start off with the top one, the one that Man Maud sent in, which is our title for today, which was is Disney focusing on US content instead of international content for Disney Plus globally a good plan or a bad plan? It's probably actually not a bad idea for a poll, really. But so what seems to be happening is earlier this year during the quarterly results call, Bob Iger said that they were basically going to be scaling back on their local content because they feel like they have been making, in some countries, not in all countries, in some countries, they've been making more local content than they probably should be needing to, and also maybe pushing that more than the global content. So a global content might be something like Secret Invasion, which everybody gets everywhere, and everyone gets all the promotion at once, and they pretty much just try and focus on one thing. Whereas local content might be a show made in Korea or here in the UK or in like Australia or France, something like that, and then kind of released around the world as well. So they have been removing a lot of content. We saw a lot of Latin American content removed last month. We've also say last month, back in May. I keep forgetting it's into July. And then at the end of June, we lost a load of Turkish shows, and some other bits and pieces as well were lost. And this is all going to be part of it. We've also been hearing reports that Korea, they're slowing down on how much content they're making. Canada has lost its one of its head chiefs, and then kind of paused all creation of new Canada content. Not that they've actually created any yet, but everything has kind of been paused. And this just seems to be the focus now of Disney trying to get back onto like the idea really of pushing global content. And in some way, I see where they're going with this one. Say, for example, something like Futurama. They can put out Futurama on a weekly basis globally on Disney Plus around the world, Hulu in the US, Star Plus, and it's a global release everywhere. The promotion goes everywhere. It can be translated into different countries. And therefore, that is a show that has got broad appeal. It goes everywhere. It has got international appeal. We have a show like The Kardashians. They can obviously do dubbing and stuff like that. And that can also reach a big audience internationally. It's one of the biggest shows they've had. And rather than, maybe like a Korean drama series, which will have some viewers in different countries, but it's nowhere near the same scale of what people are watching. And that is a problem. Now, generally, streaming services were kind of creating all this original content for a couple of reasons. First off, some of the times they are required to do so. They need to hit a certain quota. They need to do a certain amount of stuff. That is an issue that they need to be done. Some of the countries are changing it more, so they actually have to pay money rather than create a certain amount. I think all the streamers are going to go to the countries and be like, look, if every country asked for 10% of their streaming service to be filled with 10% of the stuff was theirs, it's impossible. It's literally I think of like the globe of how many countries there are. You just couldn't make enough content to do that. So I think a lot of this now are going over. They'll pay a percentage, and that way it gets them out of it. So yeah, there's definitely a thing with doing that. So let's do a quick poll on this one. Let's do a poll. Do you prefer global or local content? When I say global, it doesn't necessarily mean specifically like American, because You could have a British show that's got a global appeal. They could be making, I would say, like some of the Korean content that's been coming out, some of the documentaries about, um, some of the K-pop bands. That there is an area that she can go into. But I believe, to be honest, that most people are probably checking out Disney Plus for the global content, and the local content isn't really pulling it in. Yeah, it's I'll be honest, most of those shows of a lot of the originals got removed, a lot of the local stuff, I'll be honest, I didn't watch. There's been a few that I have watched which I've enjoyed. Aussie Kin was one, and my French one has been removed, so that's good. But yeah, there is that obviously the issue with doing it. But yeah, I think I can see why they went for for these local ones, was to try and get a big enough market. Unfortunately, like in Korea, like Netflix and some of the local ones were so far advanced of them, they just were not able to catch up, and they've just been spending money, and it's just not working to get. So yeah, they're gonna start cutting their losses. We are gonna see less of them. I'm also hoping with less originals from internationally, we might see the global ones be more released globally, because they're spending, they've got a better schedule, less constraints in terms of, and there'll be more effort on trying to get them subtitled and dubbed and all the rest of it. So there is a for and against it. Personally, like I said, I like more global stuff, and I do feel like some of the shows like could be in a global stuff. The Full Monty, the Wedding Season, Extraordinary. They were British comedies, and I don't know if they were really pushed enough, because they kind of got bundled into the British, and like they probably could have done well in America had they been pushed properly. So yeah, so there's a lot of stuff for that one. But yeah, so at the minute we're about 79 people, 79% of you prefer global releases. I don't really think in some ways that some countries have really been able to fully fire up on the local content. Obviously, I think Disney Plus Hotstar in India is probably very different. There's a lot more local content there. But for us here in the UK, I mean, we've had like 2 or 3 series a year, so it's not a huge amount of stuff to pull you in. Right. Daniel says, what are your thoughts on the Percy Jackson series 2 supposedly being greenlit? Read an article about it today. So for some reason, it's been floating around that it's been greenlit. It hasn't been officially announced. Back before the strike kicked in for the writer's strike, the creator, Uncle Rick, he did state that that they had started early work on the second season, because that's what they were doing, but it hadn't been officially greenlit, and no work is happening on the script while the strike is underway. So pretty much it is on hold. I mean, they're doing all like the post-production and stuff on the new one. So there's nothing official. I don't know really quite where. I think it was just listed on a WGA that it was in production, which we've kind of known that it was in like early stages, but not necessarily has been greenlit yet. So kind of an odd one with how that one came about. Don says, do you think a Hulu Disney Plus show with Sacha Baron Cohen playing a whole host of new characters would be a good show for Disney to make? No. I mean, I used to like Ali G like a long time ago. I just don't think his humor is really going to work for Disney Plus. I don't think it's the right place for it. Right, let's have a look and see what we've got in the live chat. Let's see what we've got here. Matt says, do you think Disney will add Garfield and Friends, the cartoon? I'm not entirely sure if that's actually owned by Disney. I know they had the movies, but I don't think they have the cartoons off the top of my head. Muppet Don then said, I don't think they have the rights down. Matt says, will we see the Marvels assemble Ant-Man and the Quantumania on Disney Plus? I think there was reports that it might be coming in July from some countries. So it might do. They might have, I think, maybe done some editing to maybe take somebody out. I think it might depend on the court case and stuff. But I suspect we will get one soon. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot less Kang in it. Tim says, will we see another trailer for the Marvels movies in November? Yes, yeah. Well, there'll be another trailer dropping probably October time. And then once we get into that final run, we'll be having like TV spots and trailers dropping continuously. That's kind of how that one works. Lester says, I want to know the price would change when Hulu is completely integrated into Hulu. Well, they're probably not going to announce the price of a full merger until they've brought out the Comcast stake. My general guess will be, what is it now? $9.99 for the ad-free, or for the ad combo. I suspect probably somewhere around maybe $12.99. I think we're going to get a price rise when it kicks in later this year, and when you start out in the bundle, and they're going to want to get you signed up to it. But then they can do a lot of offers to get you into it. but they are going to be severely doing discounts on that ad bundle because that's what they want. They want us on the ad one. They don't want us on these ad-free versions. And I think the ad-free version is just going to keep creeping up year on year, and that the lower price is going to be that bundle price. So I think that will be happening. Ricardo says, when will the Incredible Hulk be added to Disney Plus and the rest of the world? I thought it already had been. It's been added in a lot of countries. It might depend on individual countries on contracts. If it's maybe on another one, it might have to leave. But they did add it in a lot of countries. Lester said, "Our Hulu and Disney Plus look integrated around the world once the sale is over." Not entirely sure what you mean, Lester, but obviously I think it will. We are probably going to end up with a new updated version of Disney Plus globally to coincide with the Hulu launch, because they can kind of make it look a little. It hasn't changed much in like 2 years. So Suna says, how much money will the price increase be when the one app experience starts with ads and without ads? Obviously, we don't know the official price. My estimate would probably be at least maybe $1 a month more for them, at least. Maybe the ad tier might be a little bit more, because that's probably, I think we're going to see a bigger and bigger reach between the ad and the ad tier version, where, because they basically make nearly twice as much money off of an ad free version, an ad tier version of Hulu than they do on the ad-free version. So I think we're going to see a bigger difference. Babatrona says, what do you think of Max being reported to add CNN News? I think that's a good idea. Why not? Why not add CNN into Max? I mean, I never understood why they did CNN Plus anyway. It would have made more sense putting it in there. Why not offer news in there? I wish Disney did the same thing with ABC News. I think that needs to be something that we're probably going to see a little bit more of. I like watching news. I watch news channels. I watch, a number of different channels, and I like watching. If there's nothing, I'll quite often just put the news on way too many times a day. But I watch a lot of news, so I would quite happily like to be putting it in there. All right, let's jump back into the other questions. So feel free to keep sending them in. Mama says, if you're asked by Disney to come up with some ideas to include in the one app experience, what idea would you come up with? I think, well, I'll give you a few, because I'm trying to think of ones. Fast channels. So add in a number of fast channels, maybe 30, 40, 50 of them. Make it into a separate section. Have a Marvel channel, a Star Wars channel, a Pixar channel, and have, a home improvement channel. You could have, a Grownish. You can have all these different channels, just rotating stuff. You can have a Disney channel. You can have a Disney Junior channel, a Mickey channel, and just keep rolling it. And maybe as well, if you're on the ad-free version, you maybe get a version without ads, but maybe even just make them available to everybody. Kind of like a free version, and try and build out Disney Plus a little bit so that everyone has Disney Plus, even if they don't subscribe. And then they might, if they got these ad things and they can see these other things they could subscribe for, that might kind of be something they could do. They can put built-in ads into it. That's one thing. A better algorithm, so it actually shows you a much better thing of when you go in there, what you've watched, what you've not watched, and try and kind of change the format of the front page, so actually adapt a little bit more to what you're watching and your style, so that it doesn't promote stuff to me which I have never. Sometimes things come up on there and you're like, there's no reason for me to watch that. I've given you no concept that I don't want to watch that kind of content. So I think a better algorithm, more collections, more hubs, just more functionality in terms of trying to find content is the key thing here. Just more menus, more options, not necessarily on the first page, but if you go into the second hubs, like you go into a collections or into a genre or something like that, just give us an ability to see more of Disney Plus, I think, is important. Don says, do you think Solar Opposites will be impacted by the controversy and the allegations around Justin Rollins, other than Corvo's voice? No, I think they've hit the nail on the head with that one. They've dealt with the voice. He's been moved on, and they're carrying on. So I don't think that's going to make. I think they've probably had the best way they could probably deal with it. Gavin says, do you think Disney will add ABC News to Disney Plus, or now the NBC? The NBC channel was added a month ago. I think adding in news would make a lot of sense. I think it's going to be interesting to see how all this works when the Hulu adding gets brought in. Because are we going to start seeing like Good Morning America, which might only be in the US, ABC News? Some of this stuff might only be US. I'd like them to get the ABC News documentaries onto Disney Plus globally much faster, like 2020, all these kind of things that they do. Not all of them go globally at the same time, so that would be quite nice. Ricardo says, according to the scoop on Twitter, in the Disney Plus system, there is already an organization for a possible brand tier titles bar on the service, which is Disney. Pixar absorbed into it, along with Hulu, ESPN, ABC, FX, Marvel, Star Wars, and Nat Geo. In case, if true, that could be only for the US or could it be global? I think we're probably going to see whatever they do in the US is probably going to filter through internationally as well, because they're going to want to do that. They're now, like here in the UK and in Europe, we do have an ESPN player. It's really out of date. It's very old. So I could see them at some point maybe trying to get ESPN as an add-on here. That would make sense. They can close that down. That can tie it in. Latin America, they could do the same thing with Star Plus, bundle it in, do that. So they've got different options in different countries to kind of get us subscribed to ESPN. I wouldn't be at all surprised if the Star brand was rebranded into Hulu to make it much easier to have that brand definition of. So when something is maybe a little bit more mature, they can say it's a Hulu original. Because in all honesty, they could swap the Hulu and the Star brand pretty much everywhere. Probably maybe in like in India, it would be much harder to do. But I think that would be something that they could do. But we've been hearing reports of this data for a while, but nothing has actually happened yet. Tim says, will we see more movies and shows from the Disney vote for the Disney 100 this year? I'd hope so. I wouldn't count your chickens on it, but maybe as we get closer to it, we might have a better chance of them doing it. Mamad says, when do you think Disney will start marketing the one app experience so that people will know what will happen to Hulu and Disney Plus apps? My guess is they're not going to do anything in July or August. I would suspect things are going to start firing up maybe September time, getting ready for the full season when everyone starts watching TV. No point doing it probably in August. They've set the information out there. I think there is a quarterly results coming up in August, so they might start drip feeding some information out there. So I would suspect a little bit later on. Let's jump back into the live comments, see what we've got. Knoxway says, I was not expecting to see Crater get removed from Disney Plus while it was available to stream only a month. I'm pretty sure Sneakerella and World's Best will be next to remove. I did actually put in World's Best in my review. I did actually put a line, and I can't remember if I took it out or not, or it was like, watch this while you can, because how long this is there, I don't know, because I didn't think that movie was very good. I was surprised with Sneakerella because but it must have got the views, and that is the key difference, is how many views does it get, and was there enough people watching it? Are there people who keep watching Sneakerella where there was some value in it? Crater sounds, by the looks of it, it might have just been that it was so expensive to make with the special effects that it was more cost effective to get rid of it. Maybe it was I don't know, I don't know what the budget was on it. What was the? Let's see if we can find out. Disney Crater budget. 53.4 million. So Crater alone is over $50 million for that show to be created. Now, if you think of the 400 million that they wanted to get rid of, that is a big chunk. That's a big expensive movie. And I suspect, let's see, Sneakerella. I can't imagine it's anywhere near that one. That I can't even, there's no actually even coming up as a financial advice. See if I can see here. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any information on the budget of Sneakerella, so that might be wrong. But yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised if World's Best was gone at some point, but hopefully people watch it. Ricardo says, what's going on with the immediate removals of cancelled shows? Single Drunk Female season 2 and The Company Keep were not even available globally. So obviously we knew that the $400 million worth of content was going to be removed by the end of the last quarter, which was obviously Friday. I think them dropping that news and pulling it, a lot of that as well was due to the weekend and the July 4th weekend. Drop some bad news just before the weekend. No one's going to pay any attention. It's going to get less attention. It's not going to get out on social media the same way. And they are drip feeding out these removals. I think from now on, we are going to have to get used to the concept that if a show fails or a film fails, it is more likely going to be a tax write-off straight away than being held on to. They obviously the on paper it must be making them much more better money than this and trying to keep flogging it and selling it on all the rest of it. They can just get some money from it. I'm hoping really that with them making less content and being more curated, that we have less stuff being removed because there's going to be less stuff that's just filler or fluff. I think it's a shame with stuff being removed so soon. I also think it's extremely frustrating for them to remove content and delete it before we've even been able to see it. So like the company you keep and the Watchful Eye haven't even made it to the UK yet. They never will. But how is that going to be? Are you sort of looking and go, well, how was it supposed to get an audience if we hadn't even seen it yet? Okay, so it failed in the US, but it might have been amazing. It might have been amazing numbers in Australia or in the UK or whatever. It does feel like the global numbers don't even come into account. It's just how it did in the US, and it didn't work there, so it's gone. It is extremely frustrating. I mean, I could understand it like after it's had its full release, to give it. But I don't think Disney are giving some of these shows a big enough chance to get the audience. I don't think they're advertising them enough. I don't think they're marketing enough. I do think that by having less content, we hopefully will see the stuff they are putting out. More people might engage with it because there's less. It's like anything, isn't it? If you put 15 things out on a buffet, you're going to try all 15, or you're going to pick the things that you like, or you're going to pick the things that look the nicest. But there might be something there that is really good, but just not enough. But if they only put 5 things out on the table, you might be more inclined to try it and then like it. So there is a little bit of catch-22. I do think we are going to see. I'm hoping that we're going to see more better content and then be able to promote it more, and it's going to get more attention as the eyes are all on that, rather than, because sometimes Disney has just been dropping series after series after, sometimes multiple series a week, and I don't know if that was not sustainable. But also they were literally dropping them and running, and if there was no word of mouth or anything, the shows would like basically dead on arrival. I mean, I know personally from myself of there's been some shows that were cancelled before they've even made it out over here. If they did global releases, it wouldn't be so bad. But like, there was a show that they were like, oh, do you want to do, it's like, we can give you some review screeners. Like, you've already cancelled it. There's no point me spending any of my time on a project that you've already canned. So there is a thing of like, and also it's kind of a self-prophecy of, if you say it's been cancelled, it will then not get people in. And it's harder to sell. So it's very tricky to do it. So Suna says, what other shows do you think they'll add since they've already added Home Improvement in the Disney Plus in the US? I'm not expecting a huge amount of content to be dropped between now and when the Hulu add-on is added. Most of the content is going to come into Disney Plus when they do that in, as a way of getting you to pay for more, to have that thing. That's what they're going to want you to do, is to pay more. And I think that's a key thing to look out for. There wasn't anything major for July. I think Grownish is dropping in. I've just kind of been working my way for the end of the last season. Probably a while till we get the new one. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see a lot in the run up, because they're going to want to hold it off for the Hulu add-on. Uniloud says, who's Indiana Jones film rights? Like Paramount or Disney? Complicated. Disney have the rights to the new ones, but Paramount get a cut of it. And also, so Paramount distribute the old ones, but I think they've done a deal so that Disney does get access to it. It's a very complicated system. That's why there is a Paramount logo right after the Disney logo when you watch the new film in cinemas, which please go watch it, because it is really good. Rich Ricardo says, some people say that it's possible that the Hulu brand will be the new name for 20th Century Studios, considering the brand would include everything Fox title. Maybe that's why they try it on India. I think whatever happened in India went up a little bit too early and shouldn't have been. I don't think they're going to get rid of I don't think the 20th brand will be the brand name for Hulu. I think Hulu is more of a crutch for Disney to use to get. They did it with the Star brand here in the UK, and I would imagine they probably could have used. They would have used Hulu if they could have, but it's a bit like they gotta when someone complains of maybe something is mature is on Disney Plus that it shouldn't have been. Oh well, they go, well, it's Hulu. It's the more mature. It's a branding issue that they can kind of use to keep away from Mickey Mouse. Bobatronic says, why? Because Winnie Max has got removed from Disney Plus, it was added to Max. So that's a little bit of a different situation. A number 20th Century Fox signed a deal with Warner Brothers Discovery for its HBO years ago. And I think they renewed it just before Disney brought them. And it basically means it's a deal that they keep getting access to certain films on the library, and Disney have to take it off. It's only happening in the US. It's just because of an old contract that Warner Brothers and 20th Century Fox made. And unfortunately, they are long-standing deals. So Suna says, do you think they'll add an ESPN and Hub like on Hulu from the ABC, seeing all the channels? I think we're going to see ESPN Plus as an add-on within Disney Plus, at least in the US and probably internationally as well, because they're going to want us to get to subscribe. And sport is a big way of getting you in. And if it's a one-app experience, they're going to want to get you to watch the football, the basketball, the baseball, whatever they've got. Yeah, so I think there will be. Uniloud says, how long till Dial of Destiny is in theaters before streaming on Disney Plus? Like 6 months, like waiting for Avatar: The Way of Water. I think with Avatar: The Way of Water, there was a couple of circumstances with that was a little bit different. First off, it was making a ton of money. I mean, they made so much money on that film. Getting it to streaming early was not a good idea. There was also the other problem with it in the US was that not only were they going to send it to Disney Plus, it had to go to HBO Max at the same time. So therefore, the incentive to get it onto Disney Plus was kind of, the benefits are halved instantly because it would have to have gone to Max. So there was less inclination to get it onto Disney Plus. And I think Dial of Destiny probably 90 days plus is going to be how it goes. Okay, so the final question. So we've got about 50 votes. So most people prefer the global content. Let's think now of another question for you guys. So we'll end that poll. Let's do another poll, shall we? So let's do something. I think what we should do. If you got a poll, let me know in the comments. We'll do it that way. That's the easy way of me not having to think. Let's get back to some pre-done questions. I'll let you guys put together a couple of polls, and if you got any more questions, feel free to put them in. Okay, so Uniloud, we did that one there. Babak says, is ESPN laying off 20 people a sign that they're gearing up for the one-app experience, or possibly just making ESPN streaming only? So I wouldn't necessarily connect it with the one-app experience. ESPN going streaming only or streaming and linear is probably going to be a couple of years away. They're not going to be getting rid of the golden goose just yet because it brings in way too much money. This is just streamlining. ESPN is spending a load of money, and I don't think it was, they about a third of Disney's money of content goes on sports, and I think it's a bit if you've got like all the other studios having to lose thousands of staff, ESPN needed to. ESPN also is probably they're having a refresh. They're looking at some of the people they've got, some of the presenters. Now I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't know any ESPN presenter, so I don't know what they're like. I don't know how good they are, what they're like. I do at least know Pat McAfee because he's been in WWE and he's wrestled and he did commentary for Smack. So I do at least know him, and I've seen his show popping up and stuff. And I know he was an NFL star. And I know there's been a kind of a backlash about the fact of them bringing him in and therefore getting. And ultimately, there's only so many channels that you can have at once. But it's probably just the fact that they need to streamline their numbers down a little bit. Oh, Ryan, yeah. So what did Ryan miss? Well, he missed all the announcements about all these new shows and movies that were coming up. That's brand new and exclusive for me to reveal. And we've also got the price of Hulu and the ad tier and the launch date. That's what you've missed, but you might have to rewind and watch it. Just kidding. just kidding. Okay, yeah, that's a good one, Matt. So do you watch Disney Plus originals, and I can't spell right here today. But how do you watch uh weekly or binge? Let us know. Right, okay, let's carry on with some questions. Tim says, when will the Little Mermaid action movie come to Disney Plus? Could it be this month or next month? Don't think it'll be this month in July. I still got some running to do in the cinema. I think it's got legs. We still got the summer holidays. So while the summer holidays are on, I'm in the UK, they don't even start yet. I wouldn't be at all surprised if this was late. Well, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy to go, which is going to be in August. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if Little Mermaid was actually September. They're going to want to extend these releases out. I think we can get rid of the idea of them dropping really quickly. I know it came out in May, but they have to keep retraining us to go to cinemas and buy on digital and all the rest of it. So that's definitely, I think, something to look forward to. Don says, will the new stop motion car on the road short that dropped on YouTube, do you think Pixar will be looking to make some more stop motion, or will they just partner up with Studio Aardman? I think they're just doing one-offs and little things like that. Tim says, when will the new season of Simpsons or Family Guy be released on Disney Plus in Australia, since they're no longer coming to Foxtel? So obviously they're going to have to start in the US. And it depends on what's happened with the strike, because 20th Century Animation falls under the strike rules, even though most animation doesn't. They do. So if the strike carries on too much longer, we might not see them return this year. And they might, because last time there was a strike, it ended up pushing them back, or they got a slightly delayed. I know at least with Australia, you will get them probably quite quick because the deals are over. But yeah, it depends whether or not we get them, because they might not necessarily come this year. There might be a delay. Bubak says, services like Amazon Prime and Apple TV have some movies and shows that require an extra fee to purchase. Could you see Disney adding this as well? They obviously tried this with Disney Plus Premium Access. I think it's a bad idea to start that. We don't really want them doing that one. It's one thing I hate about Amazon Prime is when you're in there and you're looking for a new movie and you go, oh, I want to watch that. We were doing it this afternoon. We were looking for a new movie, something to watch. Oh, that's on. Oh, no, you got to pay for it. It's so annoying. I don't like it. Kayla says, how would you grade Disney Plus so far in 2023? What can Disney improve upon for the second half of 2023? Okay, actually, that's a really good question. So I'm actually gonna nick that question as well. So our questions for what's 67% of you prefer it weekly, but I'm actually gonna end that one a little early because I think that we could see where that one was going. So how would you rate Disney Plus in 2023? So we should start with A, B, C. I can only do 4 options, so we're going to go for F rather than D. So we're going to go fail. C, average. Actually, I'm going to change C to a D because that's kind of passable. And then B is okay. So yeah, that makes sense. I can only do 4 letters, so I can't. So let us know on that one. So this is, let us see. So that's definitely an issue there with that one. I think for me, I probably would go for a B. I do not feel Disney Plus is firing on all cylinders this year. There's a little bit of disappointment in it. I think the slowdown in the releases is not good in terms of what we've been used to. It's getting us used to it. I think they've got to get their schedule right. Internationally, here in the UK, I am disappointed that some shows haven't been arriving when they should be. Something like The Bear, for example. Why do we have to wait a month when we could have had it like last month? Those things are a little annoying. Shows are not arriving. Just in general, I feel like Disney Plus is there's not as much positivity around Disney Plus right now. We're kind of in a slump. And I feel like the big green monster in the room is this big juggernaut that we know are just waiting to get people going. And that's when the excitement is going to start kicking in. And I think that is definitely going to be the big thing. In terms of it, as far as removals, they suck. I mean, that's one thing of why you got to grade them down a little bit. While some people might look at that as a straight up like F, obviously for a fail, and it isn't good. I want to be completely fair to it and say, like, out of the 100 removals that they removed, I'd probably seen maybe 30 or 40 of them, because obviously this is important for me. I need to see them. How many of them will I ever watch again? 1, 0. Just being honest. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame. I think Big Shot and the Mysterious Benedict Society and some of the films, I think, was a mistake to get rid of, like Clouds, The Unknown One Alive. I think those were mistakes to get rid of them. I do. But things like Big Fib and, so maybe even some of the international originals are like, I can see why they went. Right, so we've got 4 more questions on the pre-dunk ones, and then we're going to be live for the rest of the show. So I can see we've got some questions stacking up. Babak says Max has ads to promote their own stuff at the beginning of all their shows, and if you have the ad-free version, you can skip it. Could Disney add that feature as well to promote itself? This would be really useful. And I don't think that we should have a minute and a half Indiana Jones trailer before we start watching everything. I don't think that's good. But a 10-second clip of, if you start a Marvel show and you had a little 10-second coming this week on new series in Secret Invasion, or Guardians of the Galaxy is coming on August, whatever, that would make sense. Maybe promote a new show that's come out that week. You maybe put like an American Born, maybe 10 seconds. You keep it nice and short and sweet. Maybe if you're on National Geographic, you highlight the big new release. Just, if you're on the Disney Channel stuff, you get a Disney Channel. I think it needs to be proportionate. I don't think you want to just be blasting out the same one on all of them. But a little bit of extra advertising would not be a problem. Or at least do it like every third thing you watch or something like that. Daniel says, just saw Nimona. Did you think it was a mistake for Disney to cancel this version? And will we ever see Disney create animation for teens and young adults? I haven't seen Nimona yet. I'm going to try and watch it this week. It's on my to-do list. As far as a mistake, and having not seen it, I've been hearing some good things about it. The simple thing is, Disney did not need a third animation studio in Blue Sky Studios. It would have been nice for it to continue. I think it would have been a good add-on. I think it would have been a good way of them getting out a third animated film. But then you look at the way that animated films are doing in the box office right now, things are not toasty. Things are not going great. Now, some people can say about the, stories and animation and themes and all the rest of it. Mario's an amazing, but the Octopus movie from DreamWorks today, there's been an awful box office result for that one, and that was an original film. Elemental's not been doing great. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse has been doing good. It's been doing good. It's done better than the last one, but it's still not amazing. So did they need an extra studio? It's I don't know. I think if it wasn't cancelled then, it would have been cancelled now anyway. I think it was probably I think personally it was maybe a mistake cancelling a project that was nearly 80% done. It would have been a bit more better had they been right, we'll finish the job off. But you look at the reaction that Lightyear and Strange World and Onward have had. The reaction to Nimona would have been probably it would have been even worse. Netflix can put it out and it won't get any attention, but Disney do it and they will, and it's a bit of a tricky one. And so you got to think at the time when they did it, 4 or 5 years ago, it would have been much more thing on it. I think had it come up now, they probably would have been much more inclined to keep going for it and been less inclined to give up than they were then. I don't think that's right. Because like I said, I haven't seen the story, so I don't know what it is. As far as creating animation for the young teens and adults, they are trying to create films and shows for everyone. And I think the trouble is trying to target audiences right now. It's really hard. The younger audience now are very different than they were 10 years ago, and they're different than the ones. And I think Disney, I don't know if they've got their finger on the pulse of what young teens are watching. The trouble is now we've got TikTok, we've got Fortnite, we've got social media and YouTube and stuff, and teenagers are watching very differently and they've got more content than they've ever had constantly, and it's much harder, I think, for them to do it. I just think it's much harder for them to do it. Last couple of quick questions. Babak says, do you think we'll see more layoffs beyond the 7,000? Yes. Will we see more shows added to Disney Plus like Home Improvement? Yes, but not as many as we would like until the Hulu add-on. And final pre-done question: what are some changes that you'd like to see added to Disney Plus? And that goes to everyone. Feel free to send them in. So for me, fast channels. I like the idea of putting little trailers before some of the stuff as well. Better hub, better search facilities, better genres, global releases. That'll be much better to get everything out at the same time. A better algorithm to show you what to watch a little bit more. Little highlights just to say when there's a new episode. Either have like in Australia, they have one. They just have a bar and it says new episodes this week. Just a way of highlighting that there's something new out. There's definitely a way going forward. Right, so now we're on the live questions. So we will be carrying on for about another 10, 15 minutes, depending on how many questions we've got. So I'm just going to try and... So let's have a look here at the ratings of... So at the minute, in terms of how would you rate Disney Plus, B is leading with 60%. A is second place at 22%. D is 12%. And last place is F. So a lot of you are kind of in the same zone as what I've been thinking. Let's see where we were. Tim says, I'm not going to watch World's Best. I hate rap music. Yeah, I mean, give it a go. But I think the fact if you don't like rap music, I'd probably say it's probably not a good one to do. Let's see here what we've got. Do you think ABC and live news and news specials will be on? I think they will be on. I think they will get added to Disney Plus anyway. Why was Home Alone removed on Disney Plus as US and added to Star? Again, that's a long-term contract that Star's made with 20th Century Studios before Disney brought them, and they've not brought them out. So whether or not that's a deal that they've got to get rid of, I wouldn't be at all surprised if it came back because it was massive on Disney Plus this year. Tim says, when does the Mandalorian season 4 start filming? I believe it's supposed to be happening this fall, like September, October, but if the strike happens with the actors and the writers' strike still carries on, forget schedules. Just we've got no idea. Everything's going to go out the window. Matt says, I think they're putting out too much content around the world compared to the US. There'll be less on Hulu emerges. I think that's the thing of it. When they merge the two together, I don't think some people necessarily realize how much stuff Disney has been putting out. And I feel like with Disney Plus, if like when you start adding in all the other content from their other networks, you actually see how much they're putting out. You see it much more here in the UK. And the problem is again, they've been putting out so many shows and so much stuff at the same time, things get lost and things don't get promoted. Because again, they've only got a limited amount of resources, a limited amount of money. If you've got this amount of cash, do you spend it on Secret Invasion, or do you spend it on The Clearing, or do you spend it on the Kardashians and all the rest of it? And unfortunately, things get lost in the shuffle. So if there's a little bit less, they can promote those things a little bit more. That's the way I look at it. So Ricardo says Hulu in the US removed for the third-party content from AMC, TNT, and Warner way before they were going to expire. I think they could have done that contract off instead of their own, but I think it wasn't enough. There's a lot of licensed content on Hulu. Some of it is like leftover stuff. Now, they have said in their SEC filing that they are going to be removing some licensed content to get out of paying some stuff early that they can do. I mean, I think like with Hulu, some of the stuff that was on there was like, it just makes sense for Disney. Why would they want to pay to have access to some of these shows? Maybe they're not performing as well. Do they want to add them onto Disney Plus? Do they just want to offset the costs? Does Disney Plus, in 2 years' time, still need those shows from Warner Brothers? They don't need it. Gary says, is True Lies still in copyright purgatory? It's still on Disney Plus in Canada yet. Do you mean the series or the film? Because I don't know about copyright purgatory, because the film's on Disney Plus here in the UK. Matt says, what movie are you looking forward to watching in theaters in 2024? Captain America Brave New World, I think, would be the one that instantly jumps out at me. Elio, I'm trying to think what else is that next year. To be honest, I think we're going to have to look at next year's schedule and see like what they filmed and what haven't they filmed. I think that's going to make a big difference because, yeah, I think we're only going to get like one or two Marvel. I think we're only going to get 2 Marvel movies next year, I think. The one and only Tinkerbell said, I voted D because of all the removals. Fair enough. I totally understand that. Uniloud says, why Fox Searchlight Pictures rebrand called Searchlight Pictures? Well, they had to get rid of the Fox name because when Disney purchased 20th Century Fox, a new company was created called Fox Entertainment, which has the Fox Network in the US. It has Fox News, and it has Fox Studio. It has a couple of studios, TV shows, and stuff. So when Disney brought it, there was a condition that they had to basically get rid of the Fox name from any of the branding and stuff, because that's why we saw the Fox channel get closed down, like here in the UK. We've seen Star was basically, they rebranded a lot of the Fox channels to Star. They took the Fox out of Searchlight Pictures because they can't use the Fox term, because Fox, I want to keep that unsurprising. And even now, people are still confused, thinking Disney own Fox, and it's just confusing. Ryan says, "Did you see YouTubers when you were in Star Wars Celebration?" Did I see any? Oh, I saw Battlefront updates. I spotted him. He does Star Wars Battlefront games. Who else did I see? I saw Laughing Place. I saw them. Who else did I see? I think that was it. Yeah, I think those are the main ones. I don't think I saw anybody else. I saw a lot more at D23. I'll be honest. There was a lot more there. Maybe just again, what wants to see it. Matt says, "Is the Terminator movies on Disney Plus around the world?" Only the Dark Fate one, because 20th Century has the right. They don't have the rights, I don't think, for the other ones. So Suna says, "When are we going to see Modern Family? August, September?" Right. Again, this is only going to happen when the Hulu add-on gets put in. So until we know that, that's probably not going to happen. And then we'll see Modern Family on Disney Plus. And I know you're going to be so excited, because I know that was one show you can't wait to see. Ryan says, "I haven't been subscribed to D Plus due to the cost." That's a shame. Have you looked into the ad tier? Maybe just drop in and out when when like Secret Invasion drops out, you can drop in. That's one way of doing it. But yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of people doing that. Knox Swift, are you hyped for episode 3 of Secret Invasion? Hope it's better than 2. I honestly felt bored. Are you surprised? I'm surprised, because I thought episode 2 was really good. I am really looking forward to watching it, because kind of one of those weird things, because I watched the first 2 episodes in a cinema. So therefore I had a little bit of a different experience. So I saw it a few weeks ago. So now I'm looking forward to Wednesday morning firing up at 8:00 and watching that new episode. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm enjoying the series, but I like the comic book. I like the scrolls idea, and I actually quite like the more grounded series. And I think that's actually what we need from the series. I think a little bit more of that one. Unico says, Disney Plus still third-party content like Spider-Man and Paramount's Indiana Jones movie. Yeah, so they are still going to license some stuff, especially some things that are franchise-based, which will get them in some extra money. I just think they're going to be taking out a lot less of them. Indiana Jones and Spider-Man kind of are almost like different things, because they are part of Disney, and even though they don't have the rights to them to all of it, they're kind of interconnected. There's a bit of a difference between Indiana Jones being on there and maybe like Transformers or Harry Potter. That's the way I look at it. So Susan says, when are we going to see a movie section like Hulu at the top of the screen? Well, there's already a movie section at the top on Disney Plus. There's already a movie section. So I'm not quite sure what you mean on that one. Tim says, when will we see another trailer for High School Musical, the series, season 4? So that one is dropping in August. So I suspect we might not get another trailer till the end of July, and then we'll just start seeing TV spots and stuff dropping in. Bobatronic says, do you think the FTC will make companies have only one streaming service? I don't think the FTC is bothered about you having multiple streaming services. I think they're more bothered about the streaming services merging together, and meaning then that there is less competition and it's worse for us as consumers. Now, as far as I'm concerned, we do need some consolidation. There are some streaming services at the bottom end of the things like AMC, all the and they've got loads like Acorn and all these different things. I think they need to merge them. Stars or Lionsgate Plus, as it's called here. We've got like here in the UK, we've still got the WWE Network. They've just, we've just found that they got the new NFL Game Pass or whatever it is, part of DAS. You've got all these different, and I think there's too many, and I don't think we can subscribe to all of them. And I do feel that as long as there is competition, and that might be 4 or 5, it's a bit like with studios. To me, it's like if you've got Amazon, Netflix, Apple, Disney, Comcast, and Universal, say those are the 6 that we've got. Well, that's competition, and they're fighting with each other. If we've got 15 competition, is it really who is it best for? Us as consumers, we're probably not that much better because we're getting we've kind of got a lot of stuff there. So let me just ask you. I'm going to end that poll. So most people went for B. I'm going to start a new one. Last question on this one. How many subscription services are you subbed? So when I say sub, if it's your family, if it's your mum and dad, something like that, fine. So we're going to go for like 1, 3, 5 plus and 7 plus. Right. So let's see what we've got here, because I'm just going to have a think here. So what have I got? Got Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Sky. So that's now. I've got Amazon, Netflix, WWE. But I've also got PlayStation Plus, YouTube, and Spotify. And I've got Nintendo. So if we don't, depends if we count Nintendo and like those kind of ones. So just streaming services alone. I mean, I'm gonna include YouTube and Spotify in there because I'm streaming stuff. So yeah, I'm probably into. I'm way too high. I've got way too many. I'm probably in the 7. I'm probably in the 7 plus. So Cine says, do you think they'll put Grey's Anatomy in? Once the Hulu ad one gets put in, Grey's Anatomy will be 100% in Disney Plus. It is the biggest show that they have. It is massive. It is a juggernaut. It is a fantastic show. I have been watching it for 19 years. I'm sure I've been watching it longer than some of you have even existed. That's quite scary. Knoxwell says, speaking of High School Musical, the series, what are you hoping the show would continue even to bring in new characters while the old characters leave the show? Right. So obviously it is a high school thing. So I do feel like with these kind of shows, they do have a very limited shelf life. They have a very limited amount of time that these kids can be in it because of obviously age. They are all now in their mid-20s. They do not look like they're in high school. They've kind of come out of that zone. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I think they were great in it, but I think it's the right time for them to move on because I feel like at what point can you have a 30-year-old still pretending that they're end of high school? And some of the stories need a little bit of a refresh. Now, do I think that they could have done High School Musical Series 5 and have a brand new cast and have maybe the teachers or like one extra student gets put back or something like that? I could have seen them doing it, but then you're going to need to like get a whole new generation. Are you going to get a new generation, or are you just going to lose subscribers? Or are they better off leaving it for a few years and rebooting it in 3-4 years' time and doing it again? Tim says, I'm excited to see Kazimoto Generation 5. Yeah, so these 10 shorts drop on Friday. Oh, sorry, on Wednesday. There are some really good ones in there. So just off the top of my head, there is one with surfing that's kind of fun. That one's just like the world has been flooded and they're surfing on the top and they're fighting with each other and there's squids and stuff. That one's a very good one. There was another one called Herder Boy, which I really enjoyed this one. They've all got, it's a bit like the monsters from Horizon Zero Dawn of like fighting, but they've got their cows and stuff, and it's kind of got a little like, it feels a little bit like Black Panther, like a cross between like Black Panther and sheep herding and Horizon Zero Dawn. It makes no sense, but I really enjoyed that one. I thought that was great. There's a few others. Please check that out when it drops on Wednesday. When they drop, fantastic to see this kind of content being created for Disney Plus. Lots of original content. These are all brand new, all different, telling different stories. Each one is very different from the other, different art styles. Some really good. I cannot stress enough to everyone to just, when they drop on Wednesday, don't watch all 10 of them at once. Don't try and do that, because that's probably, watch one or two. Just watch a few and come back, put it into your ad list, and please watch this show, because it is fantastic to see Disney doing these kind of stuff. But we're just saying, I don't know. Honestly, paying about $400 a month, that's a lot. I know I think if you got like cable TV, it's a lot, but yeah, I don't think I'm at 400, but I'm probably not far off of it. Okay, so there we go. So we're on to the last stage of the episode. So about 3+ seems to be the majority of you at 43%. So Sina says, "Did you read my question?" I think I've done quite a few of your questions. I did the Grey's Anatomy one. I did the Modern Family one. The musical specials. I did that one. So Sina, if I've missed it, just pop it in there, and I shall do it now. Just so feel free to pop it in there. But I have answered a few of your questions, but I don't know which one in particular I might have not seen. So please feel free to pop that in there. Sometimes as well, like with YouTube, is that it does filter. We have automatic filters in, so sometimes things get like cut out. So if you've got any more last minute questions, feel free to pop them in. So this week we'll have new episodes of the Disney Plus podcast right through the week. We'll be doing news updates right through. We've actually got a few stories for tomorrow, which I was kind of surprised at. Obviously, hope you have a really good July 4th. I hope you're having a really good weekend. I think that's great for you guys there to have a bit of a break. I am looking forward to having 2 days of I've got a load of to-do stuff on the website and stuff that I'm going to try and catch up with, because I think it's going to be a little bit quieter on news for the next few days. And obviously next week I'll be back with another live Q&A. Matt says, I think we'll see Simpsons added to Disney Plus in September in the US. Yeah, well, they usually seem to drop in there. I think we'll start seeing that coming in. Thank you very much, Ryan. Bye for now. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. So, Sina, is the Hulu one where you see home and my stuff and TV shows and news on the top screen? Let's have a look. So obviously on the top there, you do have my watch list, the originals and stuff. So you get that on there. As far as Hulu goes, not entirely too sure, because I use it a little bit differently to you guys. But yeah, we still have that on the top function on Disney Plus. Right. On that note, guys, thank you very much for all of your questions. I'll be back again next week, and I shall see you guys then. Ladies, and have a great July 4th. Eat loads of hot dogs and watch some fireworks. But I don't know what else you do then. There we go. So enjoy it. Thanks, everybody.